if you want to understand native speakers, if you want to sound natural, you need to learn some expressions that native speakers use all the time. These are natural expressions in English, and it's important to just learn them in chunk. Learn expressions together. This will help your English, become smoother and more fluent. So, if you want to make your English sound better, then stay with me as we learn easy phrasal verbs for work and learning. If you're a professional, if you work in an international environment, you would also need these phrases for work. The first phrasal verb I have is brush up on. Brush up on. What does this phrasal verb mean? To brush up on simply means to improve on the skill or on the knowledge you already have. For example, I could say, I'm brushing up on my English skills before, I skipped an E here, before the interview. So to brush up on means to improve on your skill. Or you could say something like, I think my manager needs to brush up on his presentation skills. Brush up on skills, on knowledge, on things you already know, so you can become better. Do we understand? Let's use it in a sentence. I want you to write a sentence using this phrasal verb, brush up on. Brush up on. What do you need to brush up on? Let me know in the comments. What do you need to brush up on? If you're a beginner, follow me. I need to brush up on my dash skills, for example. So tell me, what is the skill you need to brush up on? Let me get a sentence in the chat before we proceed. Now, the next one I have is feeling. What does feeling mean? Feeling has like different meanings, but the meaning I will teach you here is to complete a form. Complete a form or to write missing information. I hope you get that. This is an F, not a T. So to complete a form or to write missing information. For example, I could say, please fill in this application form. So the first and the basic meaning of filling is to what? Complete a form, all right? Or to write in missing information. Now, however, to fill in could also mean to stand in for someone. For example, you could hear, I won't be available for my shift tomorrow. Please, could you fill in for me? So to fill in could also mean to, stand in for someone. That's a different meaning. Sometimes phrasal verbs, not sometimes, often, phrasal verbs have 2, 3, 4 different meanings. But I'll stick with 1 or 2 on this live session. Now, the one you should know, you should worry about, is to complete. So this is the most common meaning. Okay? So know that fill in and fill out means the same thing. Fill in British, fill out American. Okay? Do we understand? Now, catch up on. What does that mean? To catch up on. To catch up on simply means to do something you didn't have time for earlier. For example, I catch up on work in emails when I'm in the bus. When I'm going to work, when I'm in the bus to work, I catch up on work emails. She spent the weekend catching up on her homework. So when you catch up on something, it means you have the time to do something that you were not able to do before or earlier. Do we get it? Do we understand? Let's make a sentence. I'm going to ask you a question and I'd like you to just give me an answer in the chat. What do you need to catch up on this week? What do you need to catch up on this week? If you're a beginner, you can start like this week, or I need to catch up on blah 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 this week. And this is actually one secret to help you speak. Now, if you want to improve your speaking, sometimes it's important for you to listen to the question and then frame your answer according to the question. If you're asked a question, what do you need to catch up on this week? I need to catch up on blah 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 this week. Simple. I need to catch up on my English lessons. I need to catch up on my on my homework. I need to catch up on my email. Now let's go for the next one. Go over. Go over means to review or check something carefully. For example, I could say, let's go over today's lesson. Let's review today's lesson. Sorry, let me make this more visible. Let's go over today's lesson, okay? Or you could hear someone say, I need to go over my notes before class. I need to go over my notes before the meeting. So I need to go over the presentation before tomorrow. So to review something, to check something carefully, to ensure everything is in place. Do we get it? Are we together? Do we understand what go over means? Please, let's make a sentence. Do you go over your notes after studying? Do you go over your notes after classes? Let me know. What notes or what information do you need to go over? Let's go to the next part. Number 6. Number 6. What does it mean? Handing. Handing. Do we have an idea? Let me know in the comments. What does handing mean? Handing. If you know, give me the definition. If you don't know, just say no. Handing. We're here. What does handing mean? Let's go, let's go, let's go. So, to hand in, for example, to submit your work to your teacher or manager. Okay, that's what it means. To submit work to a teacher or a manager. And for example, I need to hand in my report. I need to hand in my report. Okay? I need to hand in my report. I handed in my assignment yesterday. When you finish your work and then you give it, you submit it to someone, to your supervisor or to your superior or to your manager. So it's to hand in. Okay? She handed in her work on time. Do you hand in your assignments, your homework? Do you hand in on time? When you were in school, do you hand in your work on time? Let's practice using this in a sentence task. Let's practice and to complete this task so my manager can hand it in, or I need to hand in this task to my manager. Okay, it works that way. Now, look up. This is another very important, very essential phrasal verb that you often hear, okay, when people speak. You could hear, please look up that information. I need to look up something on the internet. So to look up, yes, to search for information, yes, and also to improve something, yes. It means to search for information. So to look up means to search for information. It doesn't mean look up. Okay, I mean literally it's look up, but what it means is to search for information. However, you can also use it in another way, right? For example, look up to. If I say, who do you look up to? I look up to my manager, I look up to my parents, I look up to this person. Now, what does that statement mean? To look up to. Thank you. That's it. Admiration. So it's someone that you respect, someone that you admire. That is look up to. Okay? When you respect someone so much, you admire them and they are like your example, right? Like a role model. So you look up to them. So you trust them. Now just look up means to search for information. For example, you learn a vocabulary today. You don't know the meaning, so you look it up in a dictionary. So you find out more information about it in a dictionary. Okay? And to look for, maybe something is missing and you get to find it. I hope that clears it up. Okay? So I could say, I looked up a new word in a dictionary. Do we get it? Very good. Now, can we make a sentence? What did you look up recently? What did you look up recently? What information did you search for? Maybe you heard the news and you weren't sure and you had to go online to check and find out more about it. What was it? Tell me in the comments. What information did you look up recently? Let me know. The next on the list, we have take on. Take on. What does this mean? It simply means to take or to accept new role or task or responsibility. Do we follow? So we can say she took on a new project. Fragrance took on a new project last week. Fragrance took on a new project last week. Or he took on a leadership role. So work on. What does this mean? To work on something. For example, you can say, I'm working on my pronunciation. I'm working on my soft skills. I'm working on improving my conversational skills. Or I'm working on improving my communication skills. Work on. What does it mean to work on something? So it simply means to spend time improving or completing something. Oh, currently the company is working on a project. Yes. So to spend time to improve or complete something. What are you working on at the moment? What is it you're trying to improve on? Let us know in the comments. Let's see if there's someone you're both working on a similar project or goal. Let us know in the comments. What is it you're working on at the moment? Excuse me. So, for example, I'm working on launching my clothing line. First one, brush up on. This simply means to improve on your skill or on the knowledge that you have. For example, before my exams, I need to brush up on, on some papers. I need to brush up on my English skills. I need to brush up on my English skills before the interview. Okay? That's to learn more, to improve, brush up on. And then fill in. Fill in and fill out means the same thing. Fill in is mostly used by the British and fill out is used by American. It means to complete a form, right? Or to fill in missing information in a document. Please fill out this information, or please fill out the registration form, or please fill in this contact form, okay? However, you can also use fill in to mean to stand in for someone. For example, you're working as a nurse, for instance, and you can't make your night shift because you have something else to do, and you want your colleague to help you that day or to stand in for you. You could say something like, please, can you fill in for me tomorrow? I won't be able to make my shift. Okay? Now, what about catch up on? To catch up on, it means to have time, right? To spend on something that you've not been able to do. For example, I catch up on emails when I'm going to work. Or this weekend, I'm going to catch up on some house chores I haven't been able to do. Okay, so to catch up on, to be able to do something that you didn't have time to do. Now, what about go over? Go over means to review, right? To review an information, carefully. Please go over the reports. I went over the report and I found some mistakes. So to check something carefully means to review. Yeah, that's go over. Now, what about handing? Handing is like another word for handing. It's submit. Okay, I need to hand in my report by Monday, or the student handed in his assignment to the teacher. Okay, that's hand in. What about look up? Look up. What does look up mean? Look up means to check for information, either in your dictionary or online on a website. So please, I need you to look up something about the. I need to look up a new word, or I need to. So to look up means to check for information. Okay. What about take on? Take on means to accept responsibility or to accept a task. Okay. So to accept a new role, a new job, and to work on means to spend time to improve or complete something. That's work on. For example, I'm working on launching my clothing line. Okay, I'm working on launching my school. I'm working on launching a new community. So that's working on. You have a project you're working on, so you're spending time to build or to do something, to complete something. You have a task at hand. Okay, so spend time improving something or completing something. That is working on. Okay, I'm working on my pronunciation in English. I'm working on my communication skills. Now let's come to the final phrasal verb for today. The last phrasal verb I've got is keep up with. Keep up with. What does this phrasal verb keep up with? What does it mean? Keep up with. Yeah, to stay updated. Yes, that's correct. You can say to stay updated. Yes, or to stay at the same level, or to remain updated. So to keep up with, if you say, I need to keep up with my friends, you mean you need to stay at the same level with someone. Okay, to keep up with. For example, it's hard to keep up with new vocabulary, or it's hard to keep up with the trend. Do you keep up with your plans? Do you keep up with your English practice? Do you keep up with your daily English practice? Let me know in the comments. If you do, how do you do that? How do you keep up with your English practice? How do you keep up with your English practice? If you want to join my English speaking club, please do well to check the link in my bio to join, or to send me a message on this number, all right? And if you haven't followed me, please do that, to follow, to keep learning and practicing English with me. I come out here every weekday from Monday to Friday between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. London time to help you practice your English.